I'm trying to convey. So look at the companies that we have in this space. So somebody thinks, oh, these are all like a futuristic story. No, it's a science fiction, which is not. These are all the live, real companies which are in operation right now in the world. Right? Sometimes there is a information gap happens, that things happen and we get to know there is a gap. Sometimes it is wider in India. So this is all real, right? Basically, these are all the companies that are operating right now and making profit. They're all, many of them are startup companies coming out with the niche technologies. So I thought in the theme there was some mention about manufacturing. I mentioned some of these already. So RFID tag can be put in the supply chain, and you can do preventive breakdowns. Yesterday's paper, there was a news about somebody in a associate professor in a college, engineering college, has come out with a small device which is connected to your home cylinders. If there is a leak at the cylinder, it will stop your electricity of the house, because there are 550 deaths, I believe, in the last 2 years or so, where the gas got leaked from the cylinder and this person came and put the switch on and it exploded. So we cannot make this happen in 21st century. All that he did is simply a Zigbee-based controller. He's a professor in a small engineering college in Namakkal, I think, in a Tamil Nadu village kind of a situation. He came out with this device that has sensed that gas chemical reaction when the gas gets leaked, and he connected that device to the main board of the electricity of the house, so the power gets cut off. So he sold it, he's selling, yeah, I think the proposal is for 2,500 rupees to 3,000 rupees addition, which you'll have to change it to. Every time when you get a cylinder, you plug this on, and your house is prevented from any of these major accidents. So that is, those kind of things are getting real right now. Farming. You can put sense, in fact, I heard in India, a lot of farmlands where we put over-fertilized situation where the crops get into trouble. So if we can detect what kind of diseases are there spread in some areas of the, in your farm, and put more fertilizers in that area, that can be done right now. Simply by having a camera kind of a device which will see the leaves or crops and detect by image processing the color of a decoloration, it turned pink or it has shrunk, and all that can be detected. And you can almost compare it with a database and come back and say, this is at the level of 0 to 10, it is at the level of 3, it needs 30% of fertilizers. In some cases, some areas in the same farm, it could be 60% fertilizer needed. So that can be detected. The equipments are coming out with that kind of a sensors so that you can fertilize it according to the needs of the actual things that you are growing, instead of just point blank, spray it across and make the good ones also die because of the fertilizers you have done. So all these things are happening. So I don't have a lot of time. Basically, if you look at the enterprises of the future, they all look for the context. Which context I'm working on? Can I react to that in an agile form very quickly? And I should be driven by decisions that are coming out through all this data driven. And this is all because of the connectedness I have within the company. Every enterprise will be like this, right? No enterprise will be a silo. They will be connected with their trading partners. Their competitions also contribute to this. Everything is connected. And the intelligence I can convert into a meaningful, actionable item, and then I take decisions. If you are an enterprise, if you think that this is all hype and stories and this is all not going to be real, so you are going to lose out against your competition. So I would strongly recommend embrace this device culture, whether it's a mobile. See, mobile device, in fact, cognizant buses and all the cabs we drive, we put a mobile device in every cab and the bus we drive, where it is sensed clearly where the bus is, and anybody can send a mobile request saying, hey, where the bus is. Instead of waiting for the bus to come in a bus stand for half an hour or so, they can exactly know when the bus is going to come to the bus stop. And also we know the driver's behavior also. If the driver is, say, carrying female associates in the cab, we want that cab to go only in the particular direction. If it goes anything away, the admin gets an immediate alert. And there is a panic button put onto the device. All these things are real right now. So I would strongly embrace device-enabled solutions, go for it, and make use of the SMAC opportunities and make this as a business accelerator. You can change your business model, what you are doing today with this. If you don't do that, this is from a Hollywood movie. So the people say if you don't follow SMAC, you get smacked. So that's the message I want to end with. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Balasubramaniam. May I now request Mr. R.N. Lahiri, Chairperson of Information Technology Committee of the Bengal Chamber, to please deliver the formal vote of thanks.
Good morning, everybody. I just give you the formal vote of thanks. So I take this pleasure of delivering the formal vote of thanks. It is indeed a privilege for Information Technology Committee of the Bengal Chamber to present the 4th edition of the annual Business IT Conclave. Though we are running this kind of activities for last almost 10 years, but this Business IT Conclave is the 4th. We would like to express the sincere thanks to all the stakeholders. Without their support, we would not have embarked on the 4th edition. We had the privilege of having Mr. Rajsekharan Balasubramaniam, the CTO of Cognizant Solution India Limited, for gracing the year's conclave flying down to the city. We would like to thank Sri Susanto Majumdar, the IT Secretary of our West Government of West Bengal, Mr. Probir Kumar Das, the MD of Webel, then for addressing the carrying out the time for their busy schedule. Our sincere thanks to all our speakers whose role is most important in making the program such a relevant event. Our sincere thanks to our sponsors. Without their support, it would have been impossible to present this program of this magnitude. We are really thankful to IT and Electronics Department, Government of West Bengal, Webel, GIS Group, Infinity Group, Airtel, BIEMS, Phytech, ISACA, and the management and computer consultant for their support. Last but not the least, our thanks to all delegates and friends from the media whose presence determines the success of this program. I would all request you to be here because we have more technical sessions till the evening or till the late afternoon, and definitely you will enjoy the others. A lot of speakers are here today, so I think you will enjoy today's program. Please.
Thank you, sir. Before concluding the inaugural session, we have a very pleasant task to perform. We'll request Mr. Lahiri to please present a memento to the speakers on behalf of the chamber. Thank you. To Mr. Sushanta Majumdar, to Mr. Balasubramaniam, and to Mr. Probir Kumar Das. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take a tea-coffee break for 10 minutes, and please come back after 10 minutes and be seated on your places so that we can start our technical session. We have a very interesting session, How New Businesses Connect. The speakers are all here with us, so we'll request your kind cooperation so that we can start the session on time. Thank you. We are beginning our first technical session, How New Businesses Connect. We have Mr. S. Radhakrishnan, Managing Director of Descon and past President of the Bengal Chamber, to chair the session. May we request Mr. Radhakrishnan to please come to the dais. May we also request the speakers to come to the dais. We have Mr. K. Rajneesh Menon, Director App Ecosystems and Startup Strategy, Microsoft Corporation India Private Limited. Mr. Rajoshi Chatterjee, Vice President, Atos India. Mr. Dhruv Dhawan, Product Head, Enterprise Mobility, Airtel Business, and Mr. Gunjan Sachdev, General Manager Tugboat, Panasonic India. Gentlemen, could you please allow us some time? I think Mr. Radhakrishnan is somewhere around. He was just sitting in the front. In between time, may I request the Panasonic team here to set up the devices? We are having a product demonstration here. May we request the Panasonic team to set up the devices? The devices are set up. Here is Mr. Radhakrishnan. No, sorry, it's our mistake. I'll ask them to serve you fresh.
No, that's fine. I don't want.
So, may we begin the session?
Good morning, friends. We are here for the first technical session, how the business connect. Am I right? How new business connect. I'm sure it can be new business or any business for that matter. Generally, the perception between the business heads and the ICT and how they connect with each other, I thought I'll start with a small snippet, which is, some of you may be aware of it, but still I take the liberty of saying that. As you all know, a small story, a man piloting a hot air balloon discovers he has wandered off course and is hopelessly not able to locate his place. He descends to a lower altitude and locates a man down on the ground. He lowers the balloon further and shouts, "Excuse me, can you tell me where I am?" The man below says, "You are in the hot air balloon about 30 feet above the field." the chap said, "You must be working in an information technology." So he says, "Yes, I do." "How did you know that?" He says, "What you told me is technically correct, but of no use to anyone. And I am also not able to go to the place where I should, and I got delayed." Of course, the man below said, "That's fine, but I think you must be from the management." So he said, "How did you know?" "I am from the management." He says, "You don't know where you are or where you are going, but you expect my immediate help, but you are in the same position and you were before we met, and now you are saying it's my fault because of your delay in meeting your friend." Unfortunately, the business connect between ICT and the business heads is more or less yet to be clearly defined. The challenge for the new CIO is to explain to the board of directors that ICT is not only a matter of technology, but an important aspect of corporate value creation. Studies of the alignment between business and ICT confirms this. The professional mission of the CIO involves deeper challenges than just managing material and technological assets. Knowledge that organizations accumulate is always an important source of business intelligence, but with so much data piling up around every business these days, storing, analyzing, and protecting it are major challenges. Is the organization accumulating as much data as it needs to move the business forward? Who has access to it? How is the data used? What processes are being used to analyze the data? Who defines and owns these processes? How are you protecting the data from competitors and hackers? Most of us used to come up with a business strategy, and then we asked ICT, which facilitates connecting of the organization to both internal and external stakeholders, to support it. It is now one of the major areas that will shape the future and has the potential to create more value at the core of the strategy rather than as an afterthought. Today, we have a panel of speakers who are experts in the field on the subject, the new business connect. We will have a small arrangement that I think each speaker will have 10 minutes to give their viewpoints, and then we will have an interactive session with the audience, and you can ask the relevant question to the concerned person, whomever you would like that to be answered. I would now request, as the first speaker, Mr. Katail Rajneesh Menon, Director, Agro App Ecosystem and Startup Strategy, Microsoft Corporation India Private Limited. Mr. Menon heads the cloud strategy of Microsoft. In his current role, he is heading the hugely successful Minisoft, what's it? Bespark Parking. Prior to this, he was heading the business strategy and Operation DP&E team. And I would now request Mr. Menon to kindly give his speech.
Thank you.
This होगा ना चलेगा ना It's okay. Yeah. Good afternoon. How's the coffee? Okay, thank you. Distinguished panel members and distinguished guests, thank you for having me here. Yes, I work for Microsoft. I lead the app ecosystem in Microsoft, and I also lead the startup audience, the startup ecosystem, and the startup programs that we have in Microsoft. So today, when Angana asked me to speak about the way business is connected in the ecosystem today, I was just thinking, what all facets do I need to cover of how the IT industry is working today? What all do I need to cover? And I thought it's better that I give you a flair of how the future of technology is panning out, or how it has panned out in the past. And then I cut three flavors of that. One is, as you know today, because of the consumerization of IT, consumers are kind of leading the way in the way the IT is consumed in enterprises. So let me talk about the consumer lifestyle changes. And then I'll talk about what is transforming such kind of a change. And today, just about half an hour back, Raj Bala from Cognizant, gave us a very nice technical reasons as to why the industry is moving from that angle. And thirdly, I also want to give you a perspective as to what companies like Microsoft is doing. And I'll speak for Microsoft. I can't speak for the other competitions that is there in the market today. So that's what I thought I'll cover today. So speaking about, let me just switch my slides fast. So speaking about consumer lifestyles, as you can see, today, who controls the conversation in a business? Consumers. Gone are the days when businesses could actually control the product launch, they could just, today people can just do a launch, and beyond that, it's the consumers who actually have a say in the success of the launch, in the success of the product, and so on and so forth. Gone are the days when you could have 30-second commercials with a superstar, rock star, and then you could be for sure that your product could be successful in the market. Today, people have become channels. You agree to that? People have become channels. People have become the carriers of information today. Today, as Raj was telling in the morning again, if you look into the televisions that is there in the market today, close to 60% of them are smart TVs. So you can see how consumers are interacting and how they're consuming technology, how consumers are making it, making it successful for the enterprises when they launch products. So the consumerization of IT, so to speak, starts from there, starts from the bedroom, starts from the living room, if you will. The online video consumption, I do not know how many of you all know today, in YouTube, close to 24 hours of data or video is uploaded every second. 24 hours of data. That's a huge amount of data consumption that has been done today. So if I use the consumer lifestyles and go forward and to see how fast the world is rapidly changing. If you look into the fact that consumers are becoming more digital today, how many of you will agree to this? Look at the people around. My own daughter carries a phone. My 8-year-old carries a phone, of course, for safety reasons. I'm sure today you have close to about 840 million mobile devices in the market in India today. 840 million out of a population of 1.3 billion. Mobility, when we talked about mobility, doesn't mean the mobile devices that you're carrying. Mobility actually means that you are able to work when you are mobile. Do you guys agree to that? That's mobility. Otherwise, carrying a mobile device doesn't mean you have mobility. So consumers today are becoming more and more digital from that aspect. On the right hand side, if you see the connections, the connecting the world, as I say, is becoming more and more complicated. So many data sets are available today. So many vendors are there today. So many society mediums are available today. So social media, as they say, Facebooks, LinkedIn's, Yammer, I don't know how many I can talk about. All said and done, if I have to take a self-critical view here, we from the industry also have not probably done a good job. Because to kind of garner the consumers to our side, we have kind of created boundary walls in each of these applications. But that has meant that consuming data across devices also become very complicated. So as you've seen in the past, consumers, the way they're leading it, the world is changing rapidly because of the device penetrations and the number of applications that are available from that perspective. Now if you cut that to the enterprise scenario, what are the top 10 priorities for the CIOs today? Cloud computing. And why cloud computing? Simple answer for that. It's simply because of the economics of use. The technology prowess that is there in the cloud computing offer today. Combine that with the economic benefits that you have on cloud. It makes it all pervasive. Virtualization, mobile technologies. These are the priorities of CI today. It has moved away from the dictionary across in their organizations and consume applications. So with this, how is it that the enterprises have changed, have got these priorities? It again goes back to the largely defined or the largely explained phenomena of consumerization of IT, what I was painting earlier. That consumers today demand that the products that they use is the same products that they want to use in their office environment as well. I'm sure all of you will agree with me. I would love to see to it that my PC that I carry at home is the same that I use in my office. I do not understand why I should use something else. The same mobile device, I don't understand why I should use two mobile devices. So the demand is from the consumer's angle. If I can move on, what is causing this, There are many transformational trends that's happening in the ecosystem today. Like morning Raj was painting the underlying factors of it from the technical perspective, but if I take from a business ecosystem perspective, natural interaction, NUI as I say, the way you interact, the way you touch with devices, the way you play with devices, your visual displays, it's become so easier, so mean, so lean, and so involving. Cloud computing I spoke about earlier, social networks. I don't know how many of you are aware. Today, most of the recruitments done in enterprises, they do check what is your background check on the LinkedIns, on your Facebooks and stuff like that. Social networks have become extremely important in enterprise scenario as well. The consumption of data from social networks is very, very high today. Unlike earlier, where it was supposed to be seen purely from a personal nature. Big data. Huge market is getting evolved over there. Trillions of database of data are available there, but yet people are struggling to actually make sense of the data. There are still meaningful applications yet to be developed. A lot of scientists have worked on it, a lot of applications have been developed on it, so we have some sort of a progress or some sort of improvement there. But if you still see, there's a huge amount of effort involved or work involved still in getting the big data out. Then if I talk about the location sensing, the pervasive displays that I talked about, today I don't know how many of you have seen this. You actually have in US, you can actually carry a digital magazine in your back pocket, which is nothing but your screen, which you can fold. That's the way people are consuming data, consuming the content, if you will. And of course, lastly, what is driving all this? The ubiquitous connectivity. Thanks to the telcos of the world. I mean, I'm sure, Dhruv will talk about it when he talks from the Airtel perspective. Ubiquitous connectivity is a huge driving factor that is causing all this. So these are the transformational trends that we see in the ecosystem today that is driving this such a massive change in the way both IT is consumed at the consumer end, which is then driving up the ante at the enterprise end as well. Let me just bring the Microsoft story here because it's very important as one of the leading players in the ecosystem that I let you know as to what is our play here. So there are a few things that we do. As I was seen earlier, form factors, user interactions, they're keeping on changing. The need for people to consume content via applications is creating a multiple amount of opportunities for developers out there. As I was telling you, mobility is not just about carrying a device that's there in the pocket, but actually enabling you to work when you're on the move. What do developers want today? Rich connectivity. They want to talk to the consumers as they build their applications. So these are the kind of things that we see in the world of computing. When I talk to a developer, when I talk to an enterprise, when I talk to an SI like Cognizant or Infosys, the few perquisites that they ask me or they put across the table is, does this meet all this?